families. We're continuing to follow this breaking situation. We have a lot of questions, and we hope to get you answers as we continue. I do want to bring in an expert to help make sense of this situation. We have Chris Grollnek here, and you're a founder of a organization working to prevent active shootings. Chris, welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I want to have you help us make sense of this. We understand it took 39 minutes to get the shooter in custody. Can you help us understand why that might be?
These situations are so fluid. And first of all, thank you so much for having me. And I'm saddened by the purpose of being here, of course. I do a lot of these interviews. And upon reflection, each time we learn that we can probably have prevented most of them. So to answer your question directly about the 39 minutes, over the past 26 years, and we look at this from Columbine to today as an active shooter, a lot of people will say this is workplace violence or this is one disgruntled person or an insider threat. But at the end of the day, the semantics don't matter to the 5 victims or their families or anyone else involved. So we have to look at this as a complete encompassing event encapsulated by violence, right? An evildoer, something went wrong. And these things happen from 0 to 8 minutes. And as if written before it happened, this one happened today, 0 to 10 minutes before the alert went out. And then it took police time to get there. And then it took time to find the shooter because there's no navigation software or mapping component, if you will. And then once they got there, it took that long to get him into custody.
Chris, this is really helpful in just kind of understanding the logistics. And I would imagine being on an Army base might make things a little bit different than, say, being in a public setting.
Another great question. It's almost like we've had this interview before. Tragically, right? I'm making light of it because these are very difficult, right? And I'm only human. I've worked these things personally. This is not about the me. This is about the we. It's for your viewers, your listeners, your family. You have to ask yourself, how do these things happen? When somebody tells you they're going to do something, the number one thing is to believe them. It's called leakage. And we know the FBI backed up in the report that between 75 and 90% of people before they would be a would-be evildoer, they notify something. So I'll be interested in someone via social media telling a friend, they telegraph their intentions, and we just don't take them serious. I'll be interested to see the social media report on this. But let's get to the part of the Department of Defense and specifically Department of the Army. This is an exceptionally well-trained event, if you will, active shooter prevention. And we focus so much on response across the country. It's time that we understand these events. Historically, again, for 26 years, the average is 0 to 8 minutes they happen and they end at 8 minutes. So this was no more than that. And then it took 39 minutes to get him into custody. The Army has a response and a prevention program in place. So does the Department of Justice. It's probably time that we look at this and really start forwarding that message. I've spoken to Senator Warnock before. I've spoken to Governor Kemp's chief of staff. I've testified before Congress. I mean, this isn't just, I'm not a security expert. I only do active shooters. I can't tell you anything else about the world, but I can tell you about active shooters. In 2010, I was in an active shooter in real time. In 2012, I wrote my postgraduate degree on the phenomena of active shooters, and now all I do is study them. So whether it was my capstone project or today, we look at the new stats every day. Vehicle assaults, knifing, vehicle ramming, explosives, arson as a weapon, fire as a tool, and shootings. And it just goes to show you it doesn't matter the implementation or the weapon used. When an evildoer is bent on doing something wrong, they're going to find a way to do it. Today was no exception. I just hope, it's my hope, that your viewers don't get lost in the semantics of what we're going to call this, because at the end of the day, it's just a tragedy, and we need to learn how to prevent them.
Chris, excellent points. I think when you speak of leakage and just this idea of the warning signs are there if we pay attention to them and taking the steps to prevent this or to take action, it can be difficult, but keeping our eyes open and listening when people throw off those signals, those warning signs. Chris, before I let you go, I just want to ask you, as we continue to understand this situation, if someone feels that they are seeing those warning signs in their workplace, be it an Army base or a workplace anywhere else in our communities, how do they handle that? Is it something, I think a lot of us think, okay, maybe I'll just let this slide, but you're saying no, take action, report this.
Right. And there's a fine line, right? Because you
Sure.
could say, I'm so mad, I want to just take action against fill in the blank. And, it's an emotional response, but how do we know if you're serious or not? So I would just encourage everyone. If you think it's serious enough, call 911. I mean,
Mm,
it's as simple as that. File a report, get it on the record, and get somebody investigating it. I know this works because we invented the Active Shooter Prevention Project, invented a prevention standard that has been adopted by the government. I mean, it's in place right now. Everyone across the country has a response protocol that's been invented by Texas State called Alert. It's all the great things police are going to do when they get there. The problem is we know they can't get there for about 8 minutes, and today was just another point to that topic. So if you feel threatened or you don't know what to do, find a supervisor. And if you don't know a
mm.
supervisor, find a parent. If you don't know a parent, call 911 and just report it. You're not going to feel like a snitch. It's just exceptionally important that we look back on these and people are shocked and they said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe little Johnny or Susie did this," meaning this person, an army soldier. And then they look back and say, "Well, he did threaten, he did exhibit these signs." Regret, there's no return on investment for regret.
Mm.
We print money, we don't print time. So let's value that.
Chris, thank you so much for joining us, sharing your expertise. We appreciate it today.
Thank you so much. Be safe.